I think if it shifts to AI or other things that we don't even conceive of right now, it doesn't mean the SEO job goes away. It just means we're optimizing for a different experience.
Hi, good morning, everybody. Good evening, good afternoon, wherever you are listening and watching to this episode of a Search Session. Today, we are going to have a really wonderful guest, Greg Gifford, who defines himself on LinkedIn as the local SEO nerd. I was thinking that the nerdiness of Greg, as we can see from the background, is more toward more entertaining things. Not that local SEO is not entertaining, but let's say is like me, Greg. We share some sort of freakiness for movies and science fiction and horror genre.
And
Welcome,
she's a wizard.
Greg. Welcome, Greg, to a session. How are you doing?
I am wonderful, my friend. How are you?
I'm fine. I'm fine. End of the day for me, the time we are recording this episode, and really happy to conclude the day with you. So, you are the COO. I prefer this acronym you use in the US, which is Chief Operating Something or what?
Officer.
Chief Operating Officer, which sounds really important. Surely it is of Search Lab, advertising agency specialized on.
Do you not have the COO role in Europe?
No, yes, we have this kind of definition, but we also have, the localization
Yeah.
of a name. But yes, we have CTO, CMO, COO. But sometimes there are so many CO something that
Yeah.
I get really, I totally get lost.
Yeah.
And I think it's also because I'm 20 years that I'm doing solo consultant work. So
Yeah.
I, I'm not. I usually they are my contact when I'm dealing with clients.
Yep.
So localization nerd. Okay, it's a fine definition. It's a good definition, but localization, local search. Let's call it a local search because SEO maybe for some people is limiting
Sure.
right now. We are living, as we have discussed in other conversation before this, we are living in a crisis. Using crisis in its original meaning of passage. We are in a passage from a classic search behavior and environment to what is probably going to be a new way of thinking search and doing search. For me, not so old, not so new, because it reminds me of the very beginning of when we were with more hairs, less wrinkles, and we were surfing with web. So
Yeah.
we were literally moving from one place to the other for searching stuff and not just sticking to a search engine, which has become substantially Google. But it seems for me, apart, and maybe we can talk also about this, apart some initial attempts by GPT, for instance, that local search is still somehow safe from all the AI frenzy. Or am I wrong?
You know, if we're going to generalize, yes, I would say that local search is still kind of protected from all the AI overviews and AI search, but it's starting to creep in. We're starting to get elements of it, and I think it's pretty likely we're going to see it be more prevalent soon. The problem, as you know, is the LLMs will hallucinate things, and when people have local search intent, they're looking for a place near me that sells the product or service that I'm looking for. And when the LLMs start to hallucinate, you end up trying to find locations that don't exist, and that's really problematic. And I think once they can crack the code and make it more reliable, then I think we'll see more of it. But right now, it's just so unreliable. You're not looking for a piece of information. You're looking for a physical location that you can go do business at, or for a business like a plumber or an electrician that's in your area that can come service you. And so right now, I think it's still fairly isolated, but I bet it's not going to last long.
Yes, I imagine. But where do you think you're going to start seeing AI entering from maybe from the back door? maybe using the RAG system and so having the LLMs. Uh,
Google's already trying to use LLM stuff, like they're giving you the option to write your business description with AI instead of having to write something yourself. So it's going to look at your website and go, oh, okay, here's your description, and look at your categories and whatnot. You're starting to get the option to do review replies with AI, which I think is a little silly, but they're starting to introduce these elements in there. I think they're trying to kind of wrap their heads around training the model to be more accurate. But I also think that people that have been in search longer, like you and me, we still really think Google. And part of that is the fact that we're a bit older, and that was the ingrained behavior that just came from the way that the internet evolved. But I think also we have that bias of, because we work in search marketing, we really rely on Google and to some effect other search engines. But I think the behavior is already pretty significantly shifted, especially with people that scale towards the younger end of the spectrum. I think we just do the thing that people have been talking about for years and change search engine optimization to be search experience optimization, because it's already a multi-point journey. People don't just sit down and Google something and buy from that thing. They're looking at social media, they're watching YouTube videos, they're watching TikTok videos, they're going to Reddit, they're going to other forums for that particular vertical. There are so many different touch points now where people can go find this information. I think it's a mistake for anyone in search nowadays to assume that everyone still goes to Google to find all of their answers. So it's more about anticipating the ways that your customers are going to look for you and making sure that you're showing up in those places.
yes, it's really about the search journey. And I remember Google itself telling us a few summers ago that we have data that's showing us that the younger generation tend to use more TikTok or Instagram for when they are searching places like restaurant. So, I mean, if Google itself was admitting this, it's clear that this is what
Yeah.
is happening. And both of us, we have kids. Yours are younger than mine, but we can see daily how they do search stuff for stuff on Google. And I mean, there are environments that, for instance, nobody is talking really about, like private chat systems like Discord, that
Yep.
are kings of finding information for these Alpha and Z generation.
Yep.
And yes, I totally agree with you. And I think that this is really important to understand for all of us, that the search journey is not just on Google. And even if it's in Google, it's in the Google ecosystem, because you cited Google search and YouTube, which is substantially Google. We can also say that maybe people is starting to search for not really the place where to go to buy something locally, but for recommendation about places. So listicle kind of articles that they are good type of content where a local business could be present and cited and mentioned in LLMs.
Well, and
Because
it makes sense too, because you can be so much more conversational in your search with an LLM than you can with Google. So
yes,
let's say I wanted to go have brunch at a place that has a certain price range, that has a patio where there will be availability, and I can also make a reservation to be sure that I'm going to get a table there, and it's a dog friendly restaurant so I can bring my dog with me. That would be incredibly difficult to do as a search query. And Google, I don't think, really would have the ability to give you that information, even if you typed out a really long query. It's still going to show you a list of brunch restaurants in your area with a patio, but it's not going to go to the extreme of saying, well, this map pack is only going to show you people that accept reservations and also allow dogs. But you go to an LLM and you could say, I'm looking for the restaurant, blah, 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 blah. And it'll go, oh, okay, here's the restaurants. And it will tell you. Now, is it entirely accurate? Who knows? But at least the way that people search is the way that people have conversations together. You know, if I'm going to go do a search, we've been trained to do keyword, keyword, or keyword in city, or this very simple, not complete sentence. But that's not how we speak. That's not how we think. So it makes sense that people are going to gravitate towards the LLM version of searching. And the sci-fi nerd in me kind of likes it because it becomes like Star Trek. It's like you're talking to
Yeah,
a
I
Star Trek
was going to
computer,
say the same.
and it's like you out loud say, here's what I want, and it's going to give you the information or display it on a screen if you need to see a list of things. But all of the search marketers are freaking out, going, "Oh my gosh, what's going to happen with Google?" But I don't think they're realizing there's still going to be a need for the actions that we perform. It's just not going to be, I'm doing this to show up better on Google. It's going to be, I'm doing this so customers can find me wherever they're looking.
Totally. And just staying inside the Google world, don't you think that maybe the AI mode that Google is testing substantially, because now it's a big AI overview, nothing more,
Right.
but and maybe considering what Google showed us last year at the Google I/O, which was substantially a really conversational search with multimodal elements,
Yep.
a lot of AI. That I think is where Google wants to go, but it's not able to do it. And maybe it's starting to test this first step in AI mode. Don't you think that maybe this is where Google maybe wants to go for conversational search?
Oh, for
Especially if
sure. That's where
we,
they want to go.
yeah,
And
especially
it's
I'm
where they've been
considering,
trying to go since even like when they did the Hummingbird update years ago.
yeah,
They're trying to get natural language to work in search. And I think it's like you said, they want to be there. They just can't quite get it right yet. Whether it's a technology thing or it's a lack of LLM ability to be at the point that it needs to be a reliable source, who knows? But I think it's clear. Anybody that is holding on for dear life to Google saying, "Hey guys, this is what I do and this isn't going away. Like everything else is just buzz. AI is going to be a fad. People already aren't using it." It's the wrong way to go. And I saw a whole conversation on LinkedIn just yesterday where people were saying, "Oh, well, you're tracking the LLMs as data points of who's searching and where's the search volume coming from." And it's like a 0.0002% is chat gpt, and then every other llm is so far below that it's like not even a number you could list out. But even still, for something that effectively was released to the public like a year ago and it's already 0.002%, like sure, it's not a lot, but it's coming, and it's coming quick. And it's still new. Once it gets to be really good, why would anyone want to search the old way anymore?
yeah, yes. In fact, considering a conversation that I had with friends of mine, we essentially and agreeing that maybe the big jump will be when Google will be have the bollocks, as the British would say, to push the AI mode as a default in the Google app on Android.
Yeah.
In that case, I mean, it would surely being there and able to conquer really fast eventually the market, because Google is already owning it in
Yeah.
the search. So just switching, making people get used to, okay, like, like when iPhone came first and then came after Android, let's people get used to this new smartphone thing,
Yeah.
and then we enter, and people are already used. We are cheaper. We are can mimic the
Yeah, exactly.
coolness of Apple, and let's go. Maybe it's that the moment that we should prepare for, because
Yeah,
we
we
don't
should.
know.
We don't know when it's coming, but I think it's like you said a minute ago. I think Google realizes that it's not quite there yet. Now, it's not as bad as it was, when it first rolled out the AI overview stuff and it was saying to put glue on pizza, and
Yes,
the other
SD.
dumb stuff, a lot of the stuff that Lily found that was just completely idiotic. It's not to that extreme bad. It's much better, but it's still not quite there yet. And I think that's why they're not just flipping the switch and going full AI, is because they understand that even the layperson that's not in search and not playing with LLMs all the time still realizes that it's not really 100% reliable. I think once it gets there, that's when they're going to flip the switch. And look at how fast it's come too. I mean, look at the difference. Like, I know you play with Midjourney a lot. Look at the difference of Midjourney when it first came out to Midjourney now. and all of the other, Dolly platform and everything else that you can use for image creation, even the native AI fill within Photoshop. I was playing it with it yesterday, and compared to when Photoshop first released the AI generated fill to now, it's significantly better. And things just get better and better, faster and faster. And, now you've got all of the deep seek people figuring out how to do things in a different way that's cheaper, and so you don't have the drag on resources to be able to run all of the AI stuff. And they're just going to get it faster and faster, and now they've created the quantum chips that are doing these insane calculations. That's going to make it faster and better. I think we're really on the cusp of Star Trek, man. Like, I'm excited. It's going to be like Star Trek. We're going
Yeah,
to have
yeah, yeah.
robots walking around in our house within our lifetime. Like, it's going to be awesome.
Well, it's also be weird for me. And in Europe, considering how smaller big houses in Europe will be more a pain in the ass having a robot working, co-living with you. And jokes apart, let's go back a little bit to the local, as local search. Local search, as you are used to think to it, is we are always relating it to small business or to medium business, but not many are talking about the local search applied to enterprise business. I'm thinking, for instance, I live in Spain and we know one of the biggest Spanish brands is Zara. And Zara has to deal a lot with local search with all the shops and stores that it has all around the world. And so it's for very, very big companies. You work for so many years the automotive
Yep.
niche industry, and this is a classic example. So, uh, thinking of AI technology as a tool, how can the AI technology help making this part of the work, especially from check, control, whatsoever, better, more, less mechanic, less complicated and
Yeah.
convoluted than it
And
was
time
before?
consuming too, because
Yeah,
you have to think, it's the economy of scale. When you're talking about a small business that has a single location, and you're talking about local SEO, it's the content, it's the technical SEO, it's the links, it's the architecture of the site, it's the Google business profile, it's the customer reviews, it's the citations, it's everything. When you're talking about an enterprise business that has hundreds or thousands of locations and a single website, single entity, now it's not that entire thing. A lot of times when you're talking local for something like that, you get massive returns off of just optimizing all the Google business profiles well and consistently. And just going in and updating the categories on your Google business profile could be effective for a single point business, but can be massively effective for an enterprise business that has thousands of locations. So a lot of times the people like us that work with these enterprise businesses, it's less about, hey, what's your content strategy and how's the architecture look and what technical SEO stuff can we do. On the enterprise side, it kind of flips more to being more about the multi-location aspect, where now you have both Google business profiles for all your locations, and then you're going to have a location page on the site for every location, and potentially sections of the blog for each location. And the thing that I like to do is try to figure out ways you can make your time more efficient and more effective. So if you have, let's say, a website, it's a single website, and there are 500 locations of Zara all across Spain. Who knows? We're making the number up. But let's say there's 500 locations. Outside of what you have to do on the Google business profile, you have at least 500 location pages on the site. And if you needed to go in and write 500 unique title tags, sure, they're going to follow some sort of a formula, but you still have to go in and manually write 500 unique title tags, 500 unique H1 headings, 500 unique meta descriptions. Do all of those matter? For sure, they matter at scale, especially, but the time that it would take you to write a title tag, an H1 heading, and a meta description, call it a couple of minutes. Let's say you spent 2 minutes per page and there's 500. That's 1,000 minutes that you're spending, which is like a ridiculous amount of time. Or you could go into your LLM of choice, let's just say ChatGPT, since that's what most people use to mean LLMs nowadays. You go to ChatGPT and say, here's the format for my title tag. I need a title tag for each of these 500 locations, follow the same format. Boom, it spits it out and writes it. Now you're just cutting and pasting it. Same thing, meta description, boom. It spits out 500 variants. You did it in 10 seconds instead of 1,000 hours or 1,000 minutes, whatever. You get the point. So I think there's a lot of opportunity there to not, so many people I feel are trying to figure out how to get LLMs to do SEO for them. Like they're doing prompts like, imagine you're a skilled local SEO professional and you're looking at this website. What would you do? Like, it's dumb stuff like that, right? But when you're just automating things, like the LLMs are so good at pattern detection. So it's let's automate. You have a pattern of what your title tag looks like, automate writing all of them out. Boom. Automate your meta descriptions. Like, sure, meta descriptions are important because it helps with click-through rate, but like in the grand scheme of things, your time would be more effective spent on things that you can't just automate with an LLM and get good results.
Also,
I think,
because, for instance, when it comes to meta description, you can always uh, improve your prompt with just putting as a context your brand documentation.
yeah,
The brand
yeah,
documentation. So you can say to the AI of turn, uh, following the guidelines of the brand Bible that I uploaded, create this meta description accordingly to these rules. So
yeah, exactly.
they will have your tone of voice and the brand voice, and so it's not going to be something weird from a brand standpoint.
Yeah, I think that's a really big opportunity. I think also now that we're getting these LLMs and like submodels of LLMs that will do coding for you, we're
Mm.
starting to see people that are creating their own tools because now you don't have to dedicate dev resources. Maybe you would need to clean it up at the end, but at least to get a working prototype of something, you can go out there and just have the LLMs code it for you. And Darren Shaw just did a really cool one that basically takes this concept of freshness that Ross Hudgens kind of came up with, saying if we're looking at all of the stuff that ranks on page one for any particular keyword search, go and analyze when that content was published to see if the high ranking content is probably fresher content, and typically it is. So then you could calculate by looking at the whole corpus of everything that ranks for that phrase, how often you need to create content to be able to rank for that particular topic. Darren Shaw took it a step further and said, let's take that down to a local level. So if you're looking for, like his example was like, best PC near me or whatever, then now it's starting to look at how often you need to create content in the local market to be able to rank in the local market for that term. And that's a really smart implementation. And could you have done that? Sure. You could do it manually. You could go pull all that stuff manually or use a scraper and throw it into a spreadsheet and do all that, but it's pretty easy. I mean, it was a little bit of back and forth because it was the first time he had done it, but it was pretty simple for him to just go create this free tool and put it up on his website. And now anybody can go in and go bloom, 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 and it spits you out a number and says you probably need to create content every 2 weeks if you want to stay relevant on this phrase. That would have taken a lot of dev resource and a lot of time to coordinate with the devs to go and create these tools where now you can just build something yourself. I saw something really awesome at SMX in Berlin last fall where Dan Petrovic had gone in and just completely coded this entire vector model that he could load in a website, and it does all the vector embeddings for all the concepts in the site and then starts to tell you like this amazing thing. You have a 3D rotating vector model of all of the website, and he built all of it with an AI tool and coded it all with an AI tool. So I think that's what I'm most excited for. I don't really want the AI to do our job for us. I want the AI to make our jobs easier. And I think that's the stuff that's going to start coming out that's going to be really exciting.
I totally agree. I think that is the best use of AI that we can do. The other best use of AI that we can do, maybe also thinking to something that because of this facility that AI is giving for creating new stuff, so faster in a cheaper way, but obviously, as you were saying, pointing out, should be verified by a developer, for instance, or
Right.
by a web designer in terms of look and feel. But for instance, the AI can give to even the small guy the possibility to create that unique element in terms of content, for instance, that can make it stand out in front of the people, not only locally, but also from outside.
Yeah.
Uh, I always think of this kind of example because maybe I'm Italian, and I think, and I live in Spain. So for these two countries, tourism is a really big industry. And for instance, I'm thinking, let's say, the classic, typical Italian restaurant in Florence. Surely, a big part of his customers are from Florence itself or tourists coming from Italy, so no problem. But maybe all the other people that are coming to Florence, Americans, Japanese, everybody, and you maybe are able to create something that is able to pop up or to in the front of influencer, travel influencer, food influencer, always it is in your site, so make people go on your site thanks to this piece of content that you can
Right.
create with AI, and so make you know. So you are requiring citation, mention, and you are appearing in your chat GPT whatsoever, but people especially start to search for you. And finally, when they go, because usually people will go, because if they are searching for a restaurant in Florence and discover you, they will probably go and traveling soon to Florence and probably will spend a good dinner with you, and then become, if you are a good restaurant, your brand advocates with the review, but also with the word of mouth. So I think that AI is for us SEO for doing the job, with repetitive tasks and so on, but also for us to being creative on the content side.
Exactly. And that's actually funny. Was this like a lead into what my topic is next week at SMX Munich or not?
No, sincerely, I didn't know. I was going
Okay.
to ask you.
Because my talk next week at SMX Munich is about using user generated content from your Google Business Profile to make your website experience better. So basically, the concept of information gain is kind of what this is all based off of. Which,
Mm-hmm.
by the way, you obviously know what it is. Hopefully, everybody watching or listening understands it. But I'm surprised it hasn't gotten more attention because Google has flat out said information gain is the way to go. Like that's the site that's going to win. But all the marketers and all the website owners and business owners are still just churning out the same BS content they've been churning out for
Yeah,
forever.
I think that is because people, especially marketer and some kind of marketer and SEO and some kind of owners of website, are always uh, obsessed by
Right.
let's see what the competitors doing and
Exactly.
mimic it. So
And that's not the way to win, though. You've got
that's
to be
not the
different.
way to go. If you want to stand out, you can write the same blog post that 2,000 millions of other travel blog posts maybe are writing.
Right. So that's kind of what the talk is about because it's almost like you're going on to Reddit because people have always talked about go see on Reddit if people are talking about you. It's almost like that. It's instead of going to look at Reddit or Facebook or Twitter or Blue Sky or whatever you might be going to try to see how people are talking about you, just pay attention to your Google Business Profile. Your customer reviews tell you what people think about you. And typically, when you get a bad review, it's because people had an experience that didn't match their expectation. And when you have a good review, it's because your experience exceeded expectations. So you want to look at both sides. And people always talk about look at bad reviews and look for patterns. And if there's a pattern, there's a problem with customer service or your product and you need to fix it. But people rarely talk about looking at the good reviews for patterns. So if you're dealing with a business that has 50 reviews, you could pull them down manually and scan through them and try to look for it. But once you get into the hundreds or especially when you get into the thousands, it's very hard to manually go through and classify the concepts that keep popping up and see what those patterns are. But again, the LLMs excel at pattern recognition. So if you can use a third party tool to download all your Google reviews, drop that into your LLM of choice and say, tell me what patterns you see here. It's almost like you're creating a word cloud. And everybody used to love to do word clouds and like the big words. Okay, that's important stuff. But Now it's conversational. These are the phrases that keep getting mentioned. These are the concepts that keep getting mentioned. And then you can go look at your website and see, this is the way that customers are talking about me. Do I have that same language on my website? And like one of
Yeah.
the examples that I use is another friend that's also a speaker has an office in Amsterdam, and right around the corner there's this coffee shop that is just very well loved by everyone in the neighborhood and has tons and tons of reviews. And there's like 104 reviews alone that mention the friendly cat at this coffee shop. That the owner has this cat, and the cat just like cuddles up to everybody that comes in the coffee shop, and it's just this whole fun vibe with this cat. But then you go look at their website, and there's nothing on the website about this cat that all these reviews are raving about. So there's a mismatch of experience. And if maybe they mentioned that, now they stand out from all the other coffee shops that are just like, hey, we sell coffee and pastries, and come hang out and have coffee and pastries. Now it's coffee and pastries, and we have this amazing one of a kind cat that's going to make your experience incredible. How many more customers are going to go there because of that? So it's trying to identify these patterns. And same thing with the questions and answers widget in the Google Business Profile. A lot of times people will ask a question because the information's not on the website. Sometimes they're asking a question and the information is on the website, and the business owner or marketer stops there. Says, oh, they're just asking a question. They're lazy. They didn't go to my website. It's there. I'm fine. But you got to remember, as marketers and business owners, we're acutely aware of everything that's on our website and everything that we do. We know that there's a page that has that information, but to the general public, how easy is it to find that page? Maybe it's a difficult page that's buried 3 or 4 clicks deep, and you need to make it easier for people to surface that information. But I think there's a ton of value for any business that has a Google Business Profile to analyze that user generated content from questions and answers and reviews, and make sure you get that same kind of language on your site, because now that is information gain. You are talking about things that you have that other competitors that do the same thing don't have. And you're not using your own language where you're saying, hey, I'm awesome because my mom says so. You're saying, hey, I'm awesome for this reason that the entire world loves and also talks about. You can check it out in
Yeah,
our.
yes, and then you can also use the same review as a confirmation, as a content
Yeah,
in that page. But regarding these two things, both first reviews, I think that also your type of analysis is wonderful. It's perfect. I'm surely going to make it mine. But what I would also do is having taken the occasion, because I think I remember one of the first example OpenAI was presenting to all of us about how to use embeddings with OpenAI.
right.
It was for sentiment analysis of reviews. So doing the sentiment analysis apart, individuating these topics and subtopics that maybe you are not paying attention too much, you can also see what is the tone of voice, the sentiment people
Exactly.
are referring to these topics, so you can address eventually a weak point you have.
Right.
And secondly, I remember it was fun for me hearing you talking about the Q&A part of our local business profile, because I remember when I was working for the tourist board of website of Valencia, and they were needing to recreate their places, description, and pages, and they were always writing the classic stuff. I mean, it was a sort of mini Wikipedia, which was totally useless.
Right.
So what I did was at the time it was really using a classic scraper, because LLMs were not available. Were still available, but not for me. I didn't really know about them, and it was to scrape substantially the Q&A of places, touristic places here in Valencia, to see what are the things that people are asking about these places. And so creating the content around this question. And then obviously using also the schema for places as a sort of script for putting the structure
Right.
to the content, also to the classy stuff like name of a place, the address, if there is a official website, if it was, for instance, a museum, and so on. But yes, I really like this coincidence we had about how using this thing, which is substantially my following my very old philosophy of looking really into the SERPs and not just watching them and blaming Google because it's filling of
Right.
stuff. The SERPs, all this stuff that Google is pushing in the SERPs for us are really good hints of what we should do,
Yeah,
or what the
exactly.
people are really searching for. So don't get crazy with one gazillion keywords spitted by a tool and go scrape all the searches and queries that Google is giving it to us for free.
Yeah.
And from there, you can go eventually exploring for query variants and so on, whatsoever. But you have a really good starting point from there.
Yeah.
And talking about reviews, you were saying in the really beginning of a conversation that Google is giving the possibility to reply with AI. It's like it reminds me of Gmail, where you can reply with AI.
Right.
And but I think that maybe the best use I think that of AI that Google is suggesting, because I see it also for merchant, is for when you connect your local profile, your Google Business profile with your Google Merchant
Yeah.
profile. And so, especially for I'm seeing because I had a client in the floral industry there in the States, and it was easier for him instead of hiring, a really good web designer for improving the stock photos with all the flower and so on, to just use this kind of tools that were they are not perfect. They are not maybe the last Adobe version, but yes, increasingly they are for merchants, so they work
But
perfectly.
it puts people on more of a level playing field because you can more easily compete with those people that have unlimited budgets and these massive companies if you're an SMB, because now you've got these tools that can make you work more efficiently and you can do things that you couldn't do, like you said, without hiring somebody with tons of experience that costs tons of money. So I really like the fact that I think the innovation is good. I do think there's a lot of people in the industry that are scared because Google isn't going to be the sole source, but honestly, I think Google hasn't been the sole source for a long time now, and the LLMs are just making it more obvious, but even before LLMs, I mean, my kids searched on YouTube before they searched on Google for anything. So I think it's just that the industry is catching up to consumer behavior a little bit more quickly than it used to.
I totally agree. And another classics of local search are citation. We cited him before, Darren Shaw. Darren Shaw recently also talked about the importance of local link buildings, maybe referring to a study done by Href, I think, that he was saying the links are losing importance, but they are still quite important for local.
Yeah.
Maybe because they local link building in terms of not classic citation of an app, an AP, but more like a way for Google to contrast the fact that the local business is really relevant for the local place. And I think that maybe this is where, let's say, the good combination of being a good small business, local small business, so the way you are used to deal with the people locally, front face to face,
Yeah.
and the fact that you know the place, you know who are the people that can amplify your things, your business, and your content and whatsoever. And this is maybe the way you can enter for a small business into the LLM, as I mentioned.
Yeah. Well, I mean, again, LLMs are all about pattern detection, and
Yeah,
realistically, that's what Google is. Google's really just a pattern detection program. And do you need to do things differently? Maybe at some point, but right now, AI overviews, okay, people are doing research on how to get in there. It's almost like people trying to get featured snippets 10 years ago when featured snippets came out, you know? And it was all about, oh, what can I do to get the featured snippet? And people were like, oh, the featured snippet's going to take traffic away. Well, no, it didn't end up really taking away that much traffic. And if you get the featured snippet, you're going to get business anyway. So who cares? So, same deal. If you get into the AI overview, who cares if they don't go to your website? And all these people are freaking out like, oh my gosh, what if I don't get website traffic anymore? Who cares? Are you getting the leads? That's what matters. You know, in automotive in the US, there's a big deal of protecting personal information. So there's a company that's come out. that has, one of those cookie tracking warning pop-ups across the bottom. And it's like, do you consent to sharing your data with providers, or do you want to opt out of all tracking? And if you click I do not want to be tracked, it turns off Google Analytics. So we've had dealers that overnight their traffic tanks 50%, and they're like, oh my gosh, my SEO is not working. And we're like, have your phone calls dropped? No. Have your form fills dropped? No. Have your chats dropped? No. Like, all of our conversion points are improving and going up, but all of the traffic numbers are going down, and they're freaking out. And we're like, it's because you've got this banner and people are opting out of being tracked. You're still getting the phone calls. It's not like you're seeing your traffic tank and your sales tank. I think people are going to need to get used to this idea of Google Analytics is only going to take you so far, because as you start getting discovered on YouTube, in TikTok, on Facebook, on whatever, that's another place that's going to bring people to you that may or may not be tracked. But as we move to the AI overviews or AI powered search, maybe people don't come to you at all, but you still get the phone call and you still get the sale. So who cares if they go to your website?
Yeah,
You just
yeah, yes.
now have your website, instead of being the source of truth for customers, where all customers come to your website to know about you. All customers go somewhere else to some other platform to know about you, but that platform learns about you through what's on your website.
Totally agree. And I think this is going to be not now, maybe not even in 1 year, but yes, in the future. And this is something that I was talking with Andrea Volpini of WordLift. And maybe we are going really should think about visibility, not really traffic in the classic terms.
Right.
Also
Exactly.
because the thing, and I use thing with a real meaning of thing, that is going to visit our website is going to be an AI agent,
Yeah.
not the person going on your website to reserve a table or to reserve the test of a car, but it's going to be an AI agent of an application that
It'll
is.
do it for you, because I'm going to pick up my phone and I'm going to say, hey, I need reservations. I'll be like, I don't want to say SIRI because then my phone's going to think I'm talking to it. But, I'm going to say, hey, whatever your app is named on your phone, whichever phone you're on, I want reservations at this restaurant for 3 people at 9 p.m. And I want to sit on the patio. And it's just going to go book it for you. Or, hey, like you said, I want to go book a test drive of the new Ford Bronco. Cool, it's just going to go book it for you. It's going to go to the website or to whatever interface it needs to go to. But now you need something, it's going to be doing most of the heavy lifting for you, which means, like you said, you won't have humans going to these websites performing these actions. Who cares? Why
Yeah,
freak
yeah,
out?
yeah.
It's still about, all our jobs is to ensure that our clients are able to be found when customers are looking for them. It has
Yeah.
never been our job is to help people show up better on Google. That was where customers were looking in the past. So that's what we did. I think if it shifts to AI or other things that we don't even conceive of right now, it doesn't mean the SEO job goes away. It just means we're optimizing for a different experience.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. It's really as you were saying before, and that's fun because it's the tagline of my own website, which is "I love SEO," and it's search experience optimization. And but I also citing another good friend of ours, Lexi Mill. She was saying on the in a past episode that the work of SEO should be not traffic. I mean, obviously, traffic is a byproduct. It's
Right.
becoming a byproduct. It's more brand visibility all over the place. So to stand in front of potential customers always. And so that's why branded search are becoming are having a revival in these last months because they are maybe the best indicator that
Oh, yeah.
your visibility is paying the price for being visible. And that's why they are important. That's why you should really start to connect all the silos that usually were working separately. That's where I was going to ask you how this sort of isolated way of thinking and working that SEO always, not every SEO, but the big majority of SEO had, is still there and harming the success of SEO itself. What would you suggest from your experience? We have a certain age, even if we are look really young. Uh, what would you suggest to especially to the new generation in order to be open to, because we were saying people is searching on TikTok, but you are not the person who is leading the TikTok marketing.
Right.
So how can you really create this synergy with all the channels that are contributing to the overall brand visibility?
I mean, that's kind of always been the question for marketing for all time.
Yep.
Before the internet, it was, do we put up a billboard? Do we run ads in the paper? Do we run ads on TV or radio? All of these other places where, direct mail, all these kinds of things. It was before the internet, what can we do to get our brand in front of customers so that when they are looking for a solution to their problem, they know our brand can fit that solution and we're more likely to get that business because they already know about us. That's what marketing has always been. Then we had the internet and everybody was like, oh, people are just going to go look for it online. Now we just need to make sure that our brand is showing up in these searches. And it was a specialized subset of marketing, but still, what are we doing? People are looking for a solution. We want to make sure that our client or our own site shows up so that we're in the mix when that person makes that decision. That's what we do at a really simple level. It doesn't have to just be Google. So I think advice for younger generation or people that are just starting to get into SEO is think for yourself strategically. I think that's the biggest problem that a lot of SEOs have is they learn the how, they don't learn the why. They learn how to get a site to show up better, how to do SEO. Okay, you got to do the title tag and optimize the title tag and the H1 and the content and the meta description and have alt text and, do the technical things you have to do and do link building. Okay, well, you have to do that. That's the why. You've been taught these are the activities you have to perform to get results. And you're like, oh, well, the algorithm likes it when you have good content. Okay, but what about the fresh content matters? What about the link matters? When you start understanding the why behind the activities that you're performing, you'll have more longevity. So as you're coming into this and you're thinking, I need to do these things, are you reading a site that's just telling you the how, or listening to a podcast or watching a video? Or are you actually digging in a little deeper and learning the why behind it? Because then you're going to be more in that mindset of, all right, I don't really care about traffic. I don't really care if people find me on Google. I just care that people find me wherever they might be looking. And then you're more open to exploring these other avenues. And like we all use TikTok, although I think most people out there realize now TikTok is a place you can advertise, but that's a great example of something that didn't exist 5 years ago and now is a massive, massive channel for marketing. And I think even still, if people came in today and just said, all right, cool, it's social media, most importantly, it's Facebook and TikTok and maybe a little bit of Reddit and then my website, but maybe something else pops up that somebody creates. Who knows? You got to be agile. You've got to always understand the why behind what you're doing, and then you'll be able to shift the how to match whatever that why proposition is, because it's all about being found by customers, and that's what you have to remember.
I love that you put this underline the importance of the why question. Because if I'm thinking to the search session as a podcast, this is the why of a search session. And we can obviously, I love when people share the tricks, the tips, the last actionable stuff. But for this session, I think that if I was going to do the same thing, it would be this another podcast, another video series saying the same things. So I
Right.
prefer straight to the future things about the why, and from there consider the how and
Yeah.
the what.
Yep.
And we are. I would love to continue, but we are going close to the end. And what I would like to do, and I always done with my guest, is a series of really fast question and really fast answer. But in
Boom.
your
Let's do it.
case, I'm changing the question because we both are big movie lovers. I'm going to do question about movies and movie character and actors and actresses.
All right.
So maybe from your answer, we are going to know you better. Also, not just from the movie fan standpoint, but also as a person.
All
So
right.
let's start with the first question. The movie that you end up watching every year, rewatching every year.
There's a lot in that. I watch all of the Halloween movies every Halloween. I will watch this. I will watch a Star Wars movie a few times a year. Like I won't watch the entire all
Nine
11
movies.
movies, but I'll watch one or two movies from the series. So I'll probably catch at least 5 Star Wars movies a year. I watch Lord of the Rings Extended cut every year. The Fifth Element, I will watch every single day 10 times and never get tired of it. Mostly it's horror, though. I watch a lot of horror, and it's kind of my go-to. A better question would be, what is my default film to watch on airplanes? Because, I fly a lot because I speak a lot, and so I'm all over the place. And typically, by the time something makes it to the airplane, I've already seen it. So I've seen everything on the plane, so I always have to download my own TV shows, or I've got a Steam Deck and I'll play video games. But I think just in the last 5 months, I've probably watched Deadpool and Wolverine 10 times on airplanes. That's my default right now. If I can't find anything else on the plane, I'm watching Deadpool and Wolverine.
So, other question. If someone would want to torture you, which movie would oblige you to see?
That is an excellent question. Gosh. Honestly, I tried to watch the new Francis Ford Coppola movie, Megalopolis.
Oh, yes.
Have you seen it?
Yes, I saw it.
Did you watch the whole thing?
I almost left in the middle.
I watched 20 minutes of it and gave up. And I can't remember the last time. I have seen so many just god awful movies, and I can't remember the last time I just would not finish a movie. And that one, I was like, this is such garbage. I'm not going to finish it. So that would be a really good one. Gosh, what else would I just hate watching? I don't know. It'd be tough to find that. That's the only thing that comes to mind of that would really torture me.
Well, to make you laugh, I will tell you one anecdote. I think that it would be, for me, in my case, it would be the first Final Destination. And
Really?
why? Yes, because it was so obvious for me. It was really like a classic video game I was playing at the time. It was so mechanic in its development
Yes,
that
and so predictable. Yeah,
it was, for me, when I was watching it at the movie, when you start to laugh and you cannot stop?
yeah.
That happened
It
to
was
me.
that.
I was sacked out of a movie theater.
That's awesome.
So instead,
But, the later ones got good though.
yeah.
But yeah, I agree. The first one's pretty awful.
So instead, in a parallel world made of movie characters, what character would you be? Just choose one, or a mix.
Oh man, probably James Bond.
What?
I'm a massive, massive James Bond fan. Like,
Cool.
I have seen every James Bond film on opening night in the theater since 1987.
Well, that's a long time.
Yeah,
As-
I love James Bond movies. Like, I mean, I got James Bond tattooed on me,
yeah.
I think like if I had to pick, like if I was gonna have to live in a world populated by movie characters, I could be any character, it would probably be James Bond.
And changing, but not really changing, it's still entertainment. You have to choose Disneyland or Universal Studio. Okay. Quite clear.
Yeah, no, I'm a humongous. I mean, like you can see I don't know if it's like in the whole shot. I'll put it right in the center. That's all my Disney pins right there. Like I collect
Oh.
Disney pins, and that's my lightsaber I built at Disney. You see my Disney hats on the wall. I got like the Disney Lego castle down there. Like that's the singing heads from the Haunted Mansion ride. Like, yeah, I mean, I would go Disney over Universal any day of the week. But ask me again sometime next year after I've gone to the new Universal park that they're just opening in May, because that thing looks sick and it might be my new go-to.
Okay. Thank you, Greg, for having been our guest at the search session. It was such a great pleasure to have you here.
Oh, thanks for having me on. It was a blast chatting.
I hope to see you soon. When this episode is going to go live, you already are going to be at SMX Munich, if I'm not wrong.
Yep, that's next week.
And so if you are going there.
Are you going to Brighton?
I'm going to Brighton. So if you want to catch up with Greg, which is it's a milestone in Brighton SEO, and you will find Greg there, and you will find also me as a viewer, in one of the many pubs around around the sea. So thank you, Greg, again, and see you all of you for the next episode of the search session.